Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps with myself and Mark Wallbank from Paranormal New Zealand. How you doing, Mark?
Excellent. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Oh, wow, it's so
Excellent.
good to speak to you finally. Obviously, we've
Finally.
met a few times, but we have a slight time difference issue, don't we?
A little bit. I'm in your future, so I can tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. What is
Notice
going
the
to happen?
lag? Notice the lag there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Spooky.
wonderful. Very spooky. You do so much. You do some great footage. You have some wonderful books as well. So originally you were Haunted Auckland, weren't you? And you sort of changed your name to Paranormal New Zealand.
That's right. Yeah, we started off. I've been doing this for a very long time since I was a child. But Haunted Auckland was a team that I started up around 2009. I decided that I wanted to get back into a team situation because previous to that, I'd spent it by myself, just doing solo research work. Back in 1983, 84, I started up a team. We just called ourselves New Zealand Ghost Hunting Group. And there were three of us, and we were just teenagers pretty much, just going out there with torches and cameras and going to old derelict places and just investigating and pretending to be ghost hunters. And so then about 20 years after that, I sort of spent, a couple of decades by myself, just doing my own research. Independently and with other teams, and then I decided to get back into a team situation. I started up Haunted Auckland. When we began, we basically imagined ourselves to be just a small bunch of enthusiasts that would just hang around the Auckland area and just investigate a few places and join up from time to time and do our thing. But we sort of grew in popularity, and the team grew, and we started to move out of Auckland. We started to be invited to investigate locations all around the country. So we started to travel quite a bit. We were doing road trips everywhere. And we just basically grew in our name and the team. That's right, the Haunted New Zealand road trip. Previous to that one, actually, I was just going through my books. This was the first book I did, this one here, Voices in the
wow.
Wall. That was my first attempt at writing. This one here, I was inspired by a good friend of mine down in Wellington, James Gilbert. He runs the Strange Occurrences Society in Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand. And he brought out a book. He co-wrote a book with Joe Davey, and it was called Spooked. And I really enjoyed that book. And it was one of the first New Zealand sort of paranormal type investigation books out in this country. And that was a big inspiration. And he inspired me to do this one here, which was basically me looking at all our case files and our folders and folders of investigation reports and thinking, we're the only ones that are actually going to read this stuff. It seems a shame to have it all just in folders and cupboards. Let's just compile it into books. So I started to compile it into a book form, and I got quite a few friends around Australia and around the country as well who are also researchers or are in teams, and I invited them to sort of put little viewpoints in there, their views on things and opinions pieces. And so there, we did this book, which was sort of a collaboration of my team as well as investigators around Australia and around the country. So that was quite a good one. This became so popular that I put out a second one, which was this one here, Talking to Shadows.
Brilliant.
And that was like a part two, I guess. It was very similar to this one.
Yeah.
It was like a carry on of that one. So and then from there, I got seen by a publisher who had read these two books and loved them and decided, hey, we want to publish you. So they put out this for me, which has been very popular. And then I decided to get back to the old school and do a Haunted Auckland one. I thought, well, this takes it back to where we first started, Haunted Auckland, and we've changed the name. We changed the name sort of late last year, really. We decided that Haunted Auckland no longer really sort of encapsulated what the team was about. We didn't just cover Auckland. We didn't just cover haunted subjects, like ghosts and all that. We had other interests like UFOs, Bigfoots, mysterious creatures and cryptids and things like that. So we decided to broaden it a bit and call it Paranormal New Zealand. So we've kind of expanded there. We've got a new T-shirt logos and new bit of branding there, but it's still the same team.
Yeah.
And I mean, as with most teams, team members come and go. You have your differences. People move on. People, find other interests and have family priorities and things. So team members come and go. But yeah, we have a little team going now, and it's doing very well. And we're still doing lots of road tripping and lots of traveling,
That's
and
cool. Brilliant.
we're actually flying a lot now too. Like we every year now we sort of fly over to Australia as well. We also fly down the country as well and do investigations. Next week I'm flying down to Dunedin, which is down in the South Island. I've got 2
Wow.
investigations lined up there over a long weekend. So yeah, we're very busy, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's great. I get to do stuff independently by myself because there are times where I like to do things solo. I like to do things by myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes, and I think most people feel the same way. There are sometimes you just want to do something by yourself. You want to be alone in a building, just you in the building, and just see what happens. Others prefer to be in a full team situation all the time. For me, I prefer both. So I fill my life up with investigation sessions and travel and as much as I can to cover all bases.
Yeah, I was in a team, but you are kind of restricted. So, like, any opportunities I got, like, if I saw people wanted podcast people, whatever, I always mentioned it to a team. But, like, then when you move away, you can sort of do it yourself, or you can invite your mates on it as well, can't you? And it just changes it. You're just not restricted. You're not kind of asking permission to do something.
Well, there are certain locations where you don't need a full team. You get better results if you're just there by yourself. And I often get we've got a couple of locations that we have unlimited access to because we work closely with a lot of historical buildings and organisations around this place, and they give us the keys, so we have unlimited access. We can just go in any time, so that's very handy. And there are times where I've had a hard day at work, or it might be a Friday night. I've had a hard week, and I just want to go and sit in a dark building by myself, and maybe even sleep the night. I can just bring my sleeping bag and just sleep the night, and it's totally fine. And I can document everything. I can film everything, and just see what happens.
That's a great opportunity. We don't get that.
We're very lucky.
We have to sort of pay for buildings. It's very rare you can actually get into one, without paying for it. Obviously, it depends who you know. Like my friend, she's got a dad's house, about 400 years old, right next door to a church, and he's away in Thailand a lot. So she sort of said that I can go there to investigate, so I need to sort that one out. There's sort of other places in that local town which I may soon have access to as well. And, it's great to sort of get somewhere different, isn't it? And not have to pay ridiculous prices.
Well, we've been quite lucky, but it has taken many years to build up this reputation and getting our name out there where people know who we are and people can trust us, and we appreciate people's trust in us. Really, it's a great honour to be allowed behind the scenes in these locations anytime you want, and just have that freedom. And I mean, it gives us the freedom to just do whatever we want and take our time. We don't have to rush anything. We can just do what we want, investigate in our own little styles, in our own way, our own sort of techniques and approaches, without any time pressures or deadlines or anything like that. Yeah,
and
sort of ongoing.
The first time you go to a location as well, I think they weigh you up in some way. Especially ones which are investigated frequently. You're just another bit of entertainment for them, aren't you?
Yeah. But what we've found is that there are a lot of places that will take a chance on us. They've never had a paranormal team investigate there before. I'll approach them. They'll say, yep, okay, we'll give it a go. We do okay there. And then they get bombarded with all these other paranormal teams contacting them saying, we're good friends with Paranormal New Zealand. We've worked with them very closely. Can we come in? Or we've even had people saying that they're from our team. Saying that, and that they'd like to come back for another investigation, and people just sort of using the name to sort of get leverage into buildings, which is annoying. But
Yeah, it's not on, is it?
we even had
it sort of screws up their integrity as well, doesn't it? You know, like, why lie?
yeah. Well, we had a couple that actually bought our T-shirts. They paid for the T-shirts, and then they contacted them and said, "Oh, we're from Paranormal New Zealand, and would like to come in and investigate." Just using our name, which is it's kind of flattering, but it's kind of annoying as well,
Well, yeah,
because then the
because
owners
that
have to call us up and
that could
verify.
call you destroy your reputation. If the owners
It
didn't
could,
sort of
yeah, it
check
could,
it out, then they get 2 people in who save that for your team, and they just leave the place in a mess.
yeah,
Then it sort of goes against you, doesn't it?
exactly. So we've got to play it safe and be careful these days.
Oh, of course you have, yeah. But yeah, that's
We're only a small country, and there's only a few sort of handful of teams that are actually doing anything over here. So it's not as bad as the UK, I guess. We don't have the
oh,
competitiveness that you guys have over there.
I don't
I mean,
get it.
there are a few
Don't
teams that
understand.
there's a couple of teams that we probably won't sort of have anything to do with. Really, they're not really our thing. But in general, yeah, most of the people we know here are very good.
That's
They're
good.
very friendly, and we know we can trust them. And then a lot of them are just quite new and just honest and genuine, and just really wanting to give it a go. And I appreciate that in somebody. I really like introducing new people to the field, and
That's brilliant.
as long as people are honest, and admit that they don't know anything and that they're
That's
just learning.
right. They don't
You get
they don't
a
want the
lot of them
second
that'll watch
book, do
television
they?
programs and then suddenly tell you that they
Yeah,
know everything. And
yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, steaming around the corner.
it is. So it's about
Well,
honesty, really, just being open, genuine.
yeah, yeah. But with you going back to locations as well, how do you find it with the activity level?
Um, well, I've found that the more times we go back, the more the activity sort of amps up a bit. It does sort of feel as though whatever is there does get familiar with us.
Yeah,
Um, it does feel like that. I mean, whether it is or not, I don't know. I've always been a bit skeptical about that, but it does feel like whatever's there sort of comes forward a bit more, and you sort of learn a little bit more about these things, and the whole atmosphere changes. It's
yeah,
almost like they want to come and interact, but they're just not sure yet. But they just little steps. They're just doing little bits and pieces to sort of let you know that they're there. Um, Again, it's a lot of wishful thinking, isn't it? Really, but
yeah. You just
it's
got to go on what you can guess,
yeah, it does
really.
feel like it. And for me to say that, that's a bit of a bold claim, because I mean I'm very skeptical about things, but things
Definitely.
happen that you can't explain, and it gets you thinking, and you think, well, this is actually quite cool. This is quite neat. Something's happening here that I don't understand, but it's happening. So it's worth coming back more and more times, and just keep coming back and spending the night by myself, and just seeing what happens. And that's pretty much how I do my own personal research. Is that I just let things happen, and I just go
Yeah,
wherever it leads me.
that's
Sometimes it
wonderful.
goes nowhere. Sometimes I end up figuring it out, and I can understand what's going on and why it happened. Sometimes I'm left stumped and I can't figure it out, and so I just go where it all leads me in the end.
So, do you pick up anything mediumistically?
No,
No.
I'm as sensitive as a brick, really. I always tell people, I'm just. I've been told that I have psychic abilities. I've been told by other psychics and other mediums that
Yeah.
I do have a gift. Um, I don't believe them. I don't feel it myself. I
Right.
don't. I haven't had any experiences that would sort of point to me having any sort of gift. So I don't really know. I don't think so.
Right.
But
Okay.
I have felt changes in atmosphere, though. I will admit that there have been certain, like there was one psychiatric hospital that we went into once, and there was a whole corridors of rooms, solid rooms, lock-up rooms, and you could go out in and out of every room, and they all felt the same. But then you'd go into one room, and it would just feel completely different, almost like
Right.
it was a thick cloud of air or something that you just had to push through to get into that room. It was just
Brilliant.
suffocating. So things like that happen, where there's just certain rooms, you'll be able to pick up on something's not right here, something's different.
Right, yeah.
Don't
But
know
do you
what it
pick
is,
up
but
on smells, or you can hear things?
yeah, I've smelt things. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's picking up on, but I have actually smelt things. Like in this
yeah.
house, for example, we had a crazy cat lady, and she was apparently a chain smoker.
Oh,
And she was a chain smoker, and I didn't know that. And I went into my garage downstairs, and it was almost like there was somebody there with me smoking, and none
yeah.
of us smoke. And I found out from a neighbour down the driveway that the lady that died here, she was a chain smoker.
Wow.
And we've seen her, and we can even describe her. My wife and
You've
I have
seen
seen her
her?
in, we've seen her both. My wife and I have both seen her at different
Wow.
occasions, both wearing the same clothes, and she's in full colour as well. It's not one of those black and white jobs. She's wearing a bright red shirt and white pants, and she's got puffy, bushy, white, curly hair, very sort of, I guess, 70s or 80s style.
My gosh. So
And it was the bright
this is
red
an
that caught
apparition
our eye.
you've seen then?
Mm,
Y-
full colour.
Wow.
And she was in the garden, and she's just like for a split second, then she just disappears. My wife saw her at the back garden. I saw her in the back garden as well. Um, we've also seen lots of little shadow cats around, little
Oh,
blurry
wow.
moving images that are possibly cats.
Yeah.
My wife's seen them more than I have, but she was a crazy cat lady, and we've got a cat door downstairs that cats seem to just sort of come in through. They just sort of somehow they know that that's where you go for safety.
Oh, wow.
So when we first moved into this place, we would wake up in the middle of the night. There would be cats fighting in our lounge, and who are these cats? Where are they coming from? And you wake up in the morning, and there'd be cats asleep on the lounge on the couch, just fast asleep, and they're all just coming in through the cat door and eating the food, and yeah, it was quite weird. So obviously, this lady was just bringing them in.
Yeah. And they just carried
Mm.
on making your home there. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. So she's quite happy with you being there then?
I think so. We haven't seen her for a long time, for quite a few years now, but
Oh, wow.
it
Okay.
was just good that we'd both seen her at different times, and we could
Yeah,
both describe the same person.
that's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
very
to
nice.
see her in colour as well, that's
Mm. It was the
fascinating.
bright red. It was the bright red top that she had on, long sleeves,
Wow.
and the white sort of slacks. I guess they're slacks. The sort of the
Yeah.
long white pants back there. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah. It was very.
fascinating.
Mm.
Yeah. So even though you are a skeptic, you sort of have sort of seen, to see is
Oh
amazing.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm skeptical about many things. I'm skeptical about certain cases and certain gadgets and certain,
That's right.
stories.
And there's
But
nothing
I've
wrong with
seen enough.
that.
Yeah, I've seen enough, and I've experienced enough now in my time to know that there's something going on. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
dismiss all that. I don't consider myself a full-on skeptic anymore. I mean, there was a time where I would just simply say, I don't know. I don't know if ghosts exist or not. I don't know. I have no idea. Then there was a
Yeah.
period where I thought, nah, they don't. I don't think they do. That's something else. But now it's like, yeah, I mean, I think ghosts do exist. They do exist, but I just don't think we know what they are. And it's
Well,
I
that's
don't know what they
right.
are. Hmm.
There is something, but is it what we think it is? And we'll never know that,
Yeah.
will we?
Well, people all over the world are experiencing these things.
Yeah.
For
That's it.
thousands of years, they've been experienced by people of all different types of people as well, just very different levels of education, levels of different beliefs, everything, all over the world, in every part of the globe. People have been seeing ghosts for thousands of
Yeah.
years and documenting them as well. So there's something going on, and people are seeing something.
Yeah. Even the different religions as well. They've sort of
Yeah,
got their version of demons or jinn or whatever, haven't they? So
that's right. That's right.
yeah. And
So there's going to be some truth in it.
I saw in your book about the goat man as well.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
it's great that you're sort of bringing into it some of the Maori side of things as well, because
yeah.
with the US side of things, they don't actually mention the people who've lived there previously, do they?
No. Well, the Maori side of things, I mean, it's something that's always fascinated me. I am very interested in Maori folklore and all
Yeah,
that, but it is a very sensitive subject to them, and it's
yeah,
not
of course
something
it
that
is.
me as a white man should be coming in and sort of,
Yes.
digging into. They do find it a little bit offensive and
Okay.
a bit intrusive as well. It's we have to be very respectful about it. And
That's right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was going to make a documentary quite a few years ago. I was planning on making a documentary about a piece of land up north that had Maori battles raging through it, and people were seeing Maori warriors in
Oh
the
wow.
farmland. And so I wanted to make a documentary, and I wanted to talk to some Maori elders about things, and get their take on it, and get a
Yeah.
few stories. But they said no, I couldn't
Yeah.
do it, and they would not allow me to do a documentary about it because it's just not my territory to be digging
Right.
into, really.
Yeah.
Which is, you got to respect that. It's their wishes, and admittedly, I don't really know that much about it. I'm just learning, so
Yeah.
I'm quite a novice at it, but I'm learning and I'm interested.
It is
But,
intriguing, definitely, because they're
but you got to
very
be very
spiritual
careful.
people.
Yeah,
So,
you
yeah.
don't want to tread on anybody's toes with it.
Well, no, that's right. I think that's why there's not much out in the US other than the sort of when the Spanish moved in, is there really, in sort of the
Mm,
more recent history. You sort
yeah.
of don't, you don't get anything prior, do you really?
Mm,
But it will exist, but yeah, it's probably
yeah.
out of respect. See, we're not like that here, so our history goes back so far, doesn't it?
Mm.
So,
You've got a longer history than we have over here.
well, yeah, but you've got your history, but it's just different, it's just different, which you can't go into, isn't it, really?
No, that's right. That's right. But I mean, like as far as European colonialization and stuff like that, it's we've only got a couple of 100 years really.
Yeah,
Um, so whereas you guys have got, 1,000 or
yeah,
2 years, haven't you?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I mean, it was quite amazing when I went to the ancient Ram Inn and just staying in the ancient Ram. It was 1,000 years old,
yeah,
and here I am sleeping on the floor in a 1,000-year-old place. It was incredible. It's such an amazing feeling. We can't do that here.
yeah. Yeah, we don't think about things like that. To
No,
us, we don't appreciate that. We know
no,
it's an old building and stuff like that. Last weekend I went to visit the Talbot Inn in Oundle,
yeah,
and wow, did you go there?
yeah. So there, yep.
Oh my God, what a
Did you stay
place!
in the upstairs room?
No, I was just visiting.
Oh, okay. There's the upstairs
So
room, which has got on the railing on the posts that go down the stairs. Apparently, there's a scratch mark that was
yes,
left by who was it?
Mary
It was a
Queen of
scratch mark that
Scots.
was left by the ring of somebody that was dragged down the stairs.
Mary Queen of Scots.
Is it American Scots? Yeah.
I think so.
I think that was the one. Yeah. And there's apparently a big wedge in the big
Yeah,
gouge in the timber. I couldn't
yeah.
see it. I couldn't find it.
I went up that staircase because I mentioned that I was going to. I've booked to go on an investigation, an all-nighter, some awesome paranormal people sometime. And I sort of said, "Oh, I'm coming. You can take photos. I'll have a drink." They said, "Oh, go up this staircase because there's all these pictures showing you the history." I thought, well, I don't want
Mm,
to know the history too much because I do try and pick up things mediumistically. I'm not saying I'm a medium, but sometimes I do pick things up.
yeah.
And yeah, looking at the history, got some photos and then sort of asked them about any paranormal occurrences they'd had. Two staff members, they both had things happen, which couldn't
Mm,
explain, which is fantastic. And they're willing to talk about it as well.
yeah.
Like some places try and hide it, don't they? But they were
Oh yes.
they were quite happy to mention it, which is lovely. And they actually took me into the function room as well, which was where there's a mark, I think, on some of the wood. So yeah, it's incredible
Yeah.
build.
I've found that the best people to ask are the cleaners.
Yes,
The
definitely.
cleaners, the cleaning staff are the best people to ask. The management are very sort of closed up about it. A lot of the management won't openly tell you about the stories, but the
Yeah.
cleaners, they have the gossip. They have the real deal stories.
Yeah, well these lads work behind the bar.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them had sort of encountered spooky stuff in another two pubs he worked in as well. So he must be
Cool.
quite sensitive to it all.
So
So
I
yeah.
think every pub in the UK is haunted, though, isn't it? Really?
Oh yeah, because you've got a combination, haven't you? I think anywhere where you've got emotion, you've got good times, you've got bad times, and that's it, isn't it? People spend a lot of a
Yeah,
lifetime there, and
yeah,
there's always things happening, and people sometimes die there as well, don't they?
yeah. I think we went into about 6 or 7 pubs on our travels around the UK that all had a sign out the front saying UK's most haunted pub.
Yeah. So how do you
I didn't
manage
realize it
that
was a
one then?
competition, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it's most haunted.
Hmm,
What are the criteria?
yeah.
Who knows? So when you came to the UK, we realised that you like this popping
Oh
candy.
yes, I've still got one.
Yay!
They're actually quite nice. They're actually quite nice. Yeah, and the ones that
Yeah,
you
they are.
gave me originally, the fruity ones, they're actually
Yeah,
quite nice. They're noisy,
they
but
are.
I didn't experiment with them as you were expecting me to experiment with them. Um,
No.
that's a bit of an in joke, that one.
Oh dear. Yeah. Oh dear.
Uh,
Yeah. So met up with you because you came to the UK and you sort of booked Haunted Antiques, and you invited me, which is amazing. And
yeah.
it was a special night, wasn't it? We had so many laughs.
Oh, I
The
had such a great time.
Yeah, the spirit seemed to have disappeared that night, but which is
Yeah,
unbelievable. I
yeah. No, I mean,
never really
I have
known
lots
it
of
that
friends over
way.
there. I've got lots of
Yeah,
friends over there. Lots of people I've been in touch with through Facebook and all that. So whenever I go over there, I like to try and meet up with them as much as I
yeah,
can and meet as many people as I can because um, there's just something about the UK and the field, the paranormal field itself. I mean, I know you guys that live over there, you have problems and you have competition and there's bitching and fighting and
yeah,
all that. But I mean, I see it from a different view. I see it from a different viewpoint, and I come over there with fresh eyes. And so all it is just a whole bunch of people that are really into it,
yeah,
um, who are very, very lucky that they have so many locations that they can go and look at.
yeah,
And I mean, I'm very jealous. I would live there if I could. But from my fresh eyes, I'm seeing all these lucky people that are just so friendly and welcoming, and that I can get along with. I mean, I've found everybody just so friendly and so cool, and just I've learned so much from all different types of people, from the more spiritual types and mediums and stuff like that, to the more serious skeptical types. I've met them
yeah,
all on my travels around the UK, and it's been amazing. I just like to immerse myself in other cultures and other countries and just see how they do it. I mean,
yeah.
I have my own sort of approach to the paranormal, and I have my way of doing investigations and my own research. And teams over there will all have different ways as well. So it's nice to sort of
Right.
just go and hang out with people and just sit and observe and yeah, just look at how they do things and just soak up the experience. Really, be a part of it,
Yeah,
living in the moment.
I sort of like meeting up with like-minded people,
Hmm.
and I book locations. I sort of invite people along, and we just work. I try and get people who I know will work together. If there's somebody who doesn't quite fit in, then that's it. They don't get an invite. But
Hmm.
I think, yeah, you just get the idea of somebody through social media, don't you? Because very
Yeah.
often, who you meet on social media is actually the person you meet when you actually, this. Like we
Yeah.
recently met Wes Coleman. It's absolutely amazing for him to come over for the Parameet from Canada, and
Oh,
he
okay.
was just the same as what you imagine him to be.
Did he come
That
over especially for Parameet, or
Yeah,
was he
yeah, he
just?
did. He
Oh,
came over
good.
for the Parameet was because I'd arranged to meet him in 2020, and it was Easter, but it was due to meet him in Edinburgh, but it got cancelled due to COVID. So then we were due to meet another couple of places, but things got delayed and everything. And yeah, he came over to the Parameet. So absolutely fantastic to meet him. It really was. Just like when you coming over to the Parameet as well. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had such a great time. It was
Yeah.
really good.
So
I mean, for a
everyone's so
little,
friendly, and It's great, isn't
Well, it's
it?
just amazing. I mean, like you get little old me coming from little old New Zealand that nobody's ever heard of, and I come over there, and I mean, people are asking me to have selfies and autograph books and all that. And it's like I feel like a rock star. It's great.
That's
It's
awesome, isn't it?
you don't really get that here because you're just I'm just a Kiwi guy over here. And I felt the same in Australia when I'd go over and do their Paracons. I'd be treated like a celebrity. It was just
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
It was a real eye opener. It was different and something I'm not used to. But it's always nice to be appreciated, and it's nice when people acknowledge your work and say, "Hey, I like your work and I enjoy what you do," and
Yeah.
it's just a good feeling. It's really nice. And
I
I
like
found the
it how
UK.
you
It's
have
just
these debates. Like, somebody puts something on social media and you go, no, because you are very skeptic and you take things to the nth degree, don't you, in a way? You question things, and why not? So
yeah.
do I. And yeah,
Well, I mean, it's the old adage: if you're going to make paranormal claims, you've got to have some pretty good, extraordinary. You've got to have some good
right.
evidence to back it up.
But you can't
And
get
one thing
evidence. That's the thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
well, that's right. And one
The
thing I've
evidence
learned,
is
especially with
harder.
the journalists and news media, is that if you're going to make a claim of any paranormal activity or something, or a location is haunted, you got to have something to back it up, or else they'll tear you to shreds.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, so yeah, I've never actually said a place is haunted. I've never
I
actually,
don't.
yeah, I've never said that a location is definitely haunted, because all somebody needs to say to me is, how do you know? And if I've got no
Yeah,
evidence to back anything up, then I can look really silly. So, um, yeah, now I'm just looking for that evidence. I'm looking for that proof. I mean, it may feel haunted to me, but
yeah,
for me to go public and say yes, a place is haunted it's a big call.
yeah, that's right. I go places, I write up what I get, and people who
Hmm,
think it's rubbish can think what the hell they like. I don't care. But
that's right.
it's the experience I had. It's what I believe happened. There's people around me at the time which witnessed it. And if, like, weeks, months down the line, somebody else gets that character appearing or some historical evidence comes in to prove it, there you go.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
exactly.
It's still no evidence, but
I
it's
don't,
there, isn't it?
but
It's
look at,
here.
I mean, the paranormal, let's face it, the paranormal is pretty much an individual experience. It's not going to be
That's right.
accepted by the world completely. Nobody's ever going to agree together. It's basically an individual experience that you have. Some of it might be belief led. Some of it might just be you have an experience that you can't figure out, and you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met people that swear black and blue that they've seen a full-bodied apparition right in front of them, and they can describe it in great
Yeah.
detail. For them, ghosts are real because they've seen one, and it's the same with every subject, like Bigfoot,
Yeah.
UFOs.
Right.
If Bigfoot walks out in front of you in the forest, you know he's real.
That's
You know
right.
that they're real, and no skeptic will ever sort of tell you otherwise, or will never change your mind. If one steps out in front of you, you know. And I've had a few things happen to me that I couldn't explain. Doesn't mean they're paranormal, but I couldn't explain them,
Yeah.
and it was enough to have me really intrigued and really fascinated and just really excited. I get really excited when things happen.
Yeah.
I'm like a little excitable puppy, really, when things happen. I get all, "Ooh, that was so
Yeah.
cool," especially if I can't explain it. I like the mystery. Sometimes I like not knowing.
Yeah.
I kind of like not knowing the answer. If something exciting happens, it can be a bit of a downer to sort of figure out that it wasn't something exciting in the end.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
sometimes I like to just not know. I
Yeah.
like to
I
hold that
sort of get
mystery.
that. I think the reason I like this is like if you know, you know. And if you don't, you just say it doesn't exist. But then
That's right.
once you've shown it, it like opens up a whole new world to you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I've
Because you
got to
know
the point now
there's
where,
something else there.
yeah, I mean, I can no longer say that no, ghosts don't exist, because I've met so many people, genuine people, that have told me their stories in great detail. And
Yeah,
these are people that are wide awake. I mean, the experiences I've had myself, I've been wide awake during investigations, um, doing my thing, wide awake, up and about. So I'm not asleep in bed. I'm not dreaming these things. I see them with two eyes. I'm face on, seeing these things and hearing these things, and things are happening. Um, so yeah, there's definitely something going on. So I'll never tell somebody that no, you didn't see that.
No, you
Um,
can't. Yeah,
because I wasn't there.
that's right. And
Yeah.
it's
So
all about the stories that people tell, whether you believe the storyteller, isn't it?
and I'm interested in the stories. I love hearing the stories.
Yeah.
Traveling around the UK and just hearing the stories from various places and various teams and all that. It's just been amazing. Just the stories. And I go for the stories. I love the stories. But it's a bonus when you can actually go to those locations where the stories come from.
That's right.
Um, and that's what I try and do is I find the stories that excite me, intrigue me, and the stories that I'm more fascinated by. Yeah, like the Wallerton Gnomes, for example. That was a story that
I was there yesterday.
yeah, it's just such a brilliant story. I mean, it's completely
I
over the
need to
top.
meet her. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
completely amazing and over the top and ridiculous even, but
Yeah,
you just have to go there,
with a team.
I
Yeah,
just had to go there and spend time there. And once you're actually in that forest, you can feel the atmosphere, and
yeah,
I felt it. And I'm not very sensitive, but I felt it. I could
yeah.
feel that there were eyes on me. I felt like I was being watched. And there is kind of a vibe there. It's quite weird. It's a
I
strange
know the
atmosphere.
area. What I mentioned to where I think it is because I used to walk to that park because I
Yeah.
used to live near it. I'm only 5 minutes drive now, so it
Wow.
is really close to me, and I know the area. What she's of all the of the whole park, I just knew where it would be, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
where she thinks it happened as well.
So you've seen Kate Ray's recent video?
No, I saw her at the Parameet,
Okay.
and she mentioned the story and the tale of it.
Yeah, well, her and Neil Rushton and Joe Hickey? They put out a new video. They went back to Wallerton Park and went wandering through to find the
Was that a
swamps.
recent one? So they
Yeah,
should be,
yeah.
yeah.
And
I need
they
to
went to
meet
the area that
her.
I went to. Yeah, they found the area that I went to when I was over there.
Yeah.
Because I found a swampy piece there as well. So I went there
Oh
and
yeah, that's it. Because I told her where it was, and I took a photo yesterday, and I said she mentioned something, so I said, "Oh look where I was yesterday," and it's picture the swampy bit. And she said,
mm,
that is the bit that I'm drawn to, is to be in the area.
yeah,
So
yeah,
for the whole park, like when she mentioned it, I thought, yeah, it's there. It's that bit
mm,
right by the
yeah,
lake.
yeah.
It's all fenced off. You can't get in that bit, so it's left wild to nature, isn't
Well, you
it?
can. It is
Well,
fenced off, but there are certain
obviously,
areas around the
yeah,
backs.
obviously, yeah,
The fence
yeah,
will have been pushed down, but
yeah, yeah. Let's
you
see.
can get in.
It's only a little
There's
fence
no deer in
anyway.
there.
Well, it's a little fence, isn't there? And it's easy enough to be fair. But yeah,
Yeah.
you can get there. But yeah, it is. It is obvious to me where, and yeah, there's always been something mystical about that area. Anyway, it's always
Mm,
fascinated me. It's
yeah.
just different, isn't it, from the rest of it?
It just
You,
feels different. There's a
yeah,
weird feeling there. It's very
yeah.
strange, very
You got the
eerie.
water running through it as well, so you've got a big lake, but then you sort of got trees with like little channels and water running through it as well. And
Mm,
it's fascinating little place. And then you get the deer in there, so
yeah,
you get the fallow deer and squirrels and everything. And yeah, it's alive. It's
beautiful, isn't it? It's amazing.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to meet up with her. I need to sort that one out and sort of go and explore of the park.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
keen to get back.
and it's great. It's my territory as well, isn't it?
Mm, mm.
Yeah. I've had some incredible experiences in the hall as well. I've actually worked at the hall, taking a animatronic dinosaur around to
Oh, really?
yeah.
Wow.
There's a exhibition called Dinosaurs of China a while ago where they sort of got these massive skeletons from China, and we took this lady wore this dinosaur and she had to walk around but she couldn't see, so we sort of had to guide this dinosaur for promotions and things like that. It's great
Mm.
fun. on Facebook, oh, just going to take the dinosaur for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible, and I spent a lot of time in the hall then, and I've even volunteered for scaring kids on Halloween. I was hiding in one of the haunted areas. But yeah, it's definitely a place worth going round. And I've investigated
Yeah.
there and got some. Yeah, I see the place in a different light after investigating there. I sort of uncovered something, and I don't even know if you can find it in history. That it's
Oh,
interesting for
okay.
other people pick it up. But it's something what did happen back in the day with dignitaries and things like that. So I'm intrigued and really want to see if other people have picked up on the same thing. We'll see. But I did actually get a question from Eileen. So we all met up with you in East Lothian. Oh, that's fascinating day, wasn't it?
Great fun. Very
It was
cool.
brilliant. Yeah. So there we are in Eileen's garden. We're having sandwich and things, don't we? And it's incredible.
I think she's quite proud of that garden.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. She's posted photos recently, and it's just colour, all the flowers are out and everything in the tubs. It's great. But yeah, it's beautiful. So Phantom Seekers Paranormal, that's Eileen Murray. And she's asked, in all the years of investigating, what has been the most unforgettable experience, apart from his day out with us?
Good memories there with Eileen and yourself, of course. Yeah, unforgettable. Well, I mean, I think the most interesting piece of activity I've had or experience that I've had would be at a place called Puinui Homestead. And it's actually it's a house that was moved into location at the Howick Historical Village, which is a village it's like a living village of houses, whereas all the houses have been moved into this one piece of land. And this two-story house called Puinui Homestead was moved there. It used to be out in South Auckland. And as a young kid, I saw that whole village being built, actually, back in the 80s.
So they
I
moved
saw them
houses from elsewhere?
Yeah, they moved them onto this piece of land and created this living village. It's brilliant. It's really cool. You got these old colonial houses, and
Wow.
I saw them building it. Like when I was a kid, I must have been about 10 years old or 12 years old or something, and I saw them arriving in trucks. It was all farmland around there, and my parents had bought the first house up on the hill at the farmland. And so we could look down on this village, and I would see the trucks loading the houses in. So I used to go down there and sneak down there and crawl into the houses at night.
Cool.
I'd climb out my window. I was a 10-year-old kid, climb out my window and go hiking in the bush at night, scrambling through the bush to get down to these houses. And when they would arrive, they would have no windows or doors. So I'd just have my torch and my little snappy camera.
Oh, wow.
And back then, we didn't have digital cameras. We had those old school cameras with the flash cubes and the winding film.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, of course.
And I had one of those, and I would just sit in these old houses in the dark and just take photos and just I don't know where the photos are now these days. They're just long gone in time.
Yeah.
And most of the time you'd get like 24 photos on a roll, and then you'd take it to the chemist and you'd wait a whole week for them to come back. And then they'd be all shitty. There'd be just like one or two that would be that you could see anything in, and the rest would be blurry or out of focus.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
That was it. There's nothing about, when you did take photos and you're like so excited for them to come back, and then they're like, I'm not good.
Yeah, you'd spend all night sort of taking photos, and then have about one photograph that was sort of half decent that you could use. But yeah, I used to go and sit in these buildings, and so anyway, I got to see Puinui Homestead when it was just being loaded in. It was moved in parts, and then they set it up and rebuilt it into place. So in 2012, 2011, I think it was, we did a series of investigations at the Howick Historical Village, and the Puinui Homestead was one that stood out to us because it was a big two-story house, and it looked suitably haunted. It was just a very cool-looking old house. And we went as a team one night and we investigated Tuanui, and we had a few interesting little things happen. It was quite an interesting place. So we decided to do like a project where we called it Project Tuanui, and we wanted to have each team member staying in the house individually by themselves overnight, just alone, just them in the house, documenting, filming everything, and just writing a journal as they went throughout the night, and just sleeping the night on the floor. And so I did the first one, and so I had about 4 cameras set up. I kept it very, very low key. I didn't even really tell the team members, I think, that I was doing that night. I just didn't want anybody to turn up. I didn't tell anybody online that I was doing it.
Yeah.
The only people that knew I was there were the management of the village.
Yeah.
And so I had a few cameras set up, a few trigger objects set up, a couple of audio recorders. I had my laptop set up on a table, and I was just journaling and doing a bit of Facebooking and just chilling, you know.
Yeah.
And I had this torch. I don't think I've got it around at the moment, but I've got this torch. It's just a very sort of, it's a flat torch. It's not like a round one that can roll. It's just a flat base torch that has a button on top. And I had that. I picked it up and I thought, well, maybe I'll stick it up on this chair upstairs. And if maybe a ghost will be able to push the button and make the light go on, I'll use it as a trigger object, you know. And I'd set up a camera downstairs at the bottom of the stairs on a tripod aiming up the stairs, because there are stories of this old woman in grey going up the stairs.
Wow.
So I'd set up this tripod camera at the bottom of the stairs, looking up, thinking, okay, if the woman in grey goes up there, I'll be able to capture it. So I had that filming, and I had the torch set up on a chair upstairs and around the corner. It was kind of a winding staircase. And throughout the night, I was getting sort of lots of shuffling sounds and tapping and bits and pieces, just little things that could be rats, could be mice, could be possums, just little random little things. And I was journaling those. About 3 o'clock, just before 3, I was getting really tired because it was on a Friday night, and I'd worked hard that day, and got to just before 3, and I was very, very tired. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go to bed now. I'm going to sleep. I fell asleep straight away on the floor in my sleeping bag in the living room. It was about after 3. It was after 3, probably would have been about 20 past 3, something like that. 3:15. I was awoken by a big bang sound, and I thought, what? And that woke me up, and I was like, oh, I staggered half asleep upstairs, and I found that my torch had actually come off this chair and moved around and actually slammed itself with great force down the bottom of the stairs. Of course, my camera had filmed that, and so I had that filmed. But once you see the layout of where the chair is to where it actually had to go down, it would have come off a chair, moved down a flight of stairs, and then moved along a bit, and then gone down another flight of stairs, then gone bang with great force. And it was like it was thrown with great force. So I thought, well, this is quite amazing. I couldn't figure this out, and I was half asleep. So I went back to sleep. I don't know how, but I went back to sleep because I was so tired. Next morning, went home, fast forwarded the video to that moment when it happened. There's actually about 12 minutes before that where there's like banging and crashing. There's footsteps going overhead. There's sort of clanking of a metal bucket sound. It sounds like a big wooden cabinet being slid across floorboards. There's all this noise that I slept through, and you even hear the clock chime 3. So the clock chimed 3 a.m. and then all the activity started after that. And of course, I slept through all that. Didn't wake up until I heard the bang of the torch.
Yeah.
So I've got all that captured on camera, which is brilliant. But I'm forever kicking myself because I didn't think to put a camera aimed at the torch. It was kind of a last minute thought. I thought, I'll just put this torch here. And my main plan was, if somebody turns the light on, well, then the camera downstairs will pick up the light going on.
Yeah, of course it will.
That was my only thought about it. So we had this torch being thrown, and I couldn't figure it out. To this day, I haven't been able to figure it out. It was quite funny because I posted it on our Facebook page. I made a little video about it because I thought I'd put it out there. I didn't say that it was a ghost that threw it. I didn't say anything about ghosts or paranormal activity. I just said that the torch moved down the stairs or was thrown down the stairs. Interesting. A journalist from a local paper saw the article and decided to interview me about it. And they said they were really fascinated.
Yeah.
So he came around to my house, and he stayed there for about 3 hours, and we talked, and he was all friendly, and he was all lovely, and we gave him many cups of coffee, and it was a good interview. Then he left. He didn't tell me that he was going to go to the Skeptics Society and get their opinions on it.
Oh,
So,
no.
of course, their opinions on it were, oh, those guys, they see ghosts everywhere. You know, it could be many things. Many things could have explain that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on
So
its
when
own.
the article came out, it said skeptics refute paranormal evidence like this, and I was like, oh, okay. So I contacted the Skeptics Society and I said, oh, I've just seen your the comments that you put there. I'm just curious. Are you able to tell me how that torch went down the stairs? Because I can't figure it out. I was there and I can't figure it out. You tell me there's many explanations for it. Can I just get one? And I got no reply. No reply. So they're all talk.
Did you post that on your page?
Yeah, I posted about it saying this is interesting.
With, oh look, I asked them and they haven't responded.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere in there. I've got skeptics refute paranormal activity. It's like, I gave you a whole heap. I gave you many cups of coffee, and you stayed at my house for 3 hours.
Oh God, how rude!
And that's all that came out of it. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fair enough getting a skeptic viewpoint, but then it should come back to you. You know, you can't just say, "Oh, this guy is imagining it." You know, and you've actually got footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, skeptics are going to try and work out what it is, but
yeah, I was hoping to get an answer from them. I was hoping that they could tell me what happened.
That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we try and do.
Yeah.
We want answers, you know, and
so this
it's
again,
not as if
this takes me back to what I was saying earlier. What I was saying earlier about, don't make claims you can't back up. That's why I never say a place is haunted, because you can get in a lot of trouble.
Well, that's right, and the owners might not like it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's just great that when you can meet like-minded people. Like, I've had times where you've had crazy experiences, and that's particularly when you first start, and you can't tell your friends really what happened. I sort of used to start with, well, this really happened. You'll just have to go with this, because you're telling this like massive, crazy story. But then, if you speak to somebody within the paranormal, you just say it as it is. And, it's up to, if you know them well enough, they'll know that, it's what you think happened, basically.
Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge. But it's so fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, we've had some really interesting things happen. I mean, we had one time where this place that we've got an ongoing investigation with, it's the Lake House Art Centre.
Oh, right, yeah, I've seen that one.
Again, we've got unlimited access to that. We can go there anytime, and it's as long as we want there. We had all these little pop lights. I've got one here, actually. These little pop lights.
Oh, yeah.
You hear the click?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought these off eBay. They're like a dollar each.
Cool.
$1 each off eBay. And I picked them up because they were cheap. And you put them inside cupboards.
Yeah.
And things, and old sheds and things. If you want to light it up, you just push the button.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very cheap. And they've just got, you open them up, you've just got 3 little batteries there. That's all there is. Very basic.
Similar.
Yeah. So I bought them thinking, okay, this might be a good little trigger object. Something ghost or something might be able to push the button, and it might lead to something. We started using this at the lake house. I'd used them at a few other locations and nothing had happened. But then we started working at the Lake House Art Centre, and we had a few of these just sort of scattered around. And we started asking questions. Is anybody here? Would anybody like to talk with us? Touch any of these gadgets on the ground? The usual story, the usual questions. And all of a sudden, this went off like that. It sort of went off, and we thought, oh, okay, because you need to push it down to make it go.
Yeah.
And there's a click when you turn it off and on.
Yeah.
And we said, oh, okay. And of course, our approach to doing this is, if things start happening, you just go with them and see where they lead you.
Yes, that's right.
So this went off. So we started asking more questions, and it started to go off and on. And to go off and on, you have to push it on and click it again, go off. But something was bypassing that and making it go off and on.
Yes.
So we thought that was quite interesting.
Work.
Yeah, similar to that.
Yeah.
And it's,
they don't move.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, my practical mind is telling me this is possibly something like the torch idea, that torch trick where you loosen the back of the torch.
Right.
And I'm thinking, because these are so cheaply made, maybe there's something that, as it cools down, that connects and it triggers it to go off and on by itself. I don't know. But it was answering questions, and to the point where we would talk for well over an hour. We would just talk, toing and froing with something, and it would go off and on and answer 2 questions, to the point that we could go through the alphabet and get names and dates and
Oh my
and
gosh.
ages and things like that. And so this is how we've come up with this ghost girl. We don't know if it's a ghost girl, but we call her Patty.
Right.
And she seems to be there at the Lake House Art Centre. And the name Patty is just one where we went through the alphabet. It landed on P, and the light went off. And we went through the alphabet and managed to find out that her name was Patty, or Patricia. So we kind of go with that. We don't know if we got it right, or if there's a slight lag in the timing, it might not be a P, it might be something else. But we're going with that for now anyway. And all the interactions we started to see shadows, little child-sized short shadows moving around. Then you could also hear footsteps running around this building. There would be like footsteps above. And there was one time I went by myself. I was meeting a paranormal researcher from overseas who was coming over for a holiday, and they asked me if I could take them out on an investigation. So it was during the weekdays, and I took them to the lake house because we've got unlimited access.
Yeah.
I got there before this guy arrived, and I opened the front door and I walked in with my backpack and all my equipment. Walked in, and the first thing I heard was down the hallway, and it was like, it sounded like a child running down the wooden floorboard, down the wooden hallway. And in this building, there's a cafe. And what I've noticed is that the cafe owners there, they sometimes turn up late at night to prepare for the next morning.
Yeah.
So I just walked in thinking, oh yeah, the cafe owners are here at the moment. That's fine. Their kids are obviously running around, and he's heard me come in, so he's run away to hide. I get there and the cafe is not open. There's nobody there. Empty. Yet I heard bare feet, some sort of child running down a hallway with bare feet. It was incredible.
I
And
wonder if that's to greet you then.
Yeah, well, all the interactions that we've been having, whether it be through pop lights, whether it be through, we've had various other investigators that have joined us on these investigations, and they've claimed to have seen short shadows as well.
Wow.
James Gilbert, who I mentioned earlier, from Wellington, he came on one, and he's a very skeptical guy, and he was sitting alone at the bottom of the stairs, and he told me that he saw a small shadow coming down the stairs towards him where he was sitting. It came right up to him, to the point where he put his hand out thinking it was going to come in and touch him. So he put his hand out to try and stop it. And he's a skeptic, and for him to say that, it's a pretty big deal. And just recently, in the past few months, we've heard that from people that knew the house when it was in its original position, because it was moved to its current position. It used to be beside a lake. It was called the Lake House. It was beside a.
I'm going to have to cut it on this story.
Okay.
We're going to continue. So be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll end that story. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Fascinating.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Get all excited.
I don't usually pre-record. I had to pre-record this one because basically Mark is 11 hours different from us. So he's currently at work. It's 10 o'clock their time? So yeah. So thanks for watching. I have got another interview with him. So basically StreamYard actually allows an hour. Otherwise you've got to edit it and things like that. So we did an hour's chat, and then we did another hour's chat. But he's just a remarkable guy. I'm so pleased to have met him. So he's actually from Auckland, New Zealand, and he really does like the UK. So I'm going to put the second one out either this week or next week. But from now on, I will be sort of getting the usual guests on, and we'll go from there. But if anybody does want to be a guest on here, if you do, let me know. I'm always on the lookout for new people because everybody's got a story. we've all got stories, haven't we? Like you on, Andy. So I bet you've got a lot of stories as well, haven't you? But, you know, it's just incredible, the field. But when you get these stories and you get similar, you know, similar tales from one part of the world to another part of the world, you know, different techniques, similar techniques. And like, everyone's got the preference, everyone's got the style. But the thing is, like Mark, he is a skeptic. Like very often you'll see him on social media. He'll make comments because he wants the evidence. But at the same time, you know, we can have a discussion, we can get on. And, you know, he's a great person. That's why it should work within the paranormal field. But yeah, but it was interesting. I have got another hour. You know, I did speak to him, like, for me, it's like 10 o'clock and I've been to a party the night before. So in the morning, and like, you know, I'm not a morning person either. So yeah, it was fun. And yeah, I've got another hour where we're sort of discussing various things. But it's unfortunate that Mark can't actually make it back this year to the Parameet. But maybe we'll see him another year. But he's absolutely an incredible person to meet, and Eileen's met him as well. When he does come to the UK, he does actually tour. So he does stay at haunted places both in England and Scotland, you know, whether he'd sort of go over to Ireland at some stage. That's another thing. Hi, Drew, I hope you're well. So yeah, you just finished my chat with Mark, which is actually a pre-record, but I've got another hour to actually put up there. But yeah, I'm surprised that Mark's not actually on. He's usually like on and saying hello when he's at work, because he's very naughty. But yeah, and Eileen knows about the popping candy as well, don't you, Eileen? So yeah, Mark actually posted a meme on his Facebook about this popping candy. So I just couldn't help myself and actually bought him some. And then Eileen did as well. So yeah, it's well funny. But we had a laugh, and that's what you do, isn't it? You know. And you know, Mark's another person. Like, you know, you'd never actually met him. You know, first time I met him was Haunted Antiques, maybe 2 years ago. But then when you meet these people, they are very similar to what you expect. And like, I met Eileen, and hopefully one day I'll meet Drew or everyone really. And it's just great meeting people, isn't it? And you've got to look at what is positive in the paranormal, haven't you? I'm hoping to go back to Scotland this year. I still haven't really published my photos from Scotland yet. I'm shocking. I was there last September. I don't know. I've just been on other things. But I've actually got to put out there some photos of Boleskine House. So I do want to do that when I can. So I went round in September and I got permission to post all these beautiful photos from the outside of the house. But I got photos of the grounds and the view of Loch Ness and everything. I also have got loads of photos of the graveyard as well, which I'm sure Alistair Crowley would have spent a lot of time in it. It was so I love the graveyard, actually, and like anyone who goes there can actually sort of head into the graveyard. That's cool. Oh, congratulations, Drew. So pleased for you. Hope it works out for you. You deserve the best. You really do, because you try, don't you? But yeah, I'm dead chuffed about that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm touring Scotland again. Not quite sure where to go. But the thing is, with me in Scotland, I just tend to end up at the same campsites, because I've found some really nice ones. And, you know, I want to go back to Loch Ness. I can't help that. I want to go back and see Eileen. And I love staying on Glencoe. There's a campsite right near a sort of river as well. It's just absolutely stunning. Yeah, so DNTV Entertainment, that's your page, isn't it, Drew? So you do podcasts and everything, and you offer a range of services, do mediumship, great at reading as well. Does some great readings. Hi, Eileen. Yeah, definitely. As long as I don't get more rocky vet bills, that has been very challenging. And today my neighbour says, oh, his eye looks worse. It looks like it's come back. It's like, oh, God, no. But the thing is, when you see my dog's eye, he's got an eye ulcer, so he had an operation. and you see it on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's getting better, but then she says, oh, it looks like it's got that, you know, but no, I'm sure it's getting better. So fingers crossed. And then, yeah, come and see you in September. Oh, cheers. Thanks for that, Drew. I try my best. I just do what I do. This kind of helps me as well with my mental health, because I have been struggling. I'm struggling so much at the moment. So at least on a Monday night, you know, I've got something to do because I do live on my own. So it's nice just to chat to people, and that's what I like doing, you know. I spent a lot of the weekend on my own. I went out Friday, Saturday night, but then the rest of the time it's just been me and the dog. But yeah, so yeah, I like to have a natter. And I'm going to see Barry John tomorrow. So he offers development lessons about an hour's drive away. So I'll go there. Had lessons with him, 2 lots of lessons with him. So originally it's an in-person lesson. That was great. You know, I sort of really developed, and we're sort of really getting close into getting into trance. It's sort of an area of mediumship I'd like to sort of go that route. But then things have kind of, I think because of the stress from work, things have changed a lot, and I've not been picking that much up. But I did do an investigation a couple of weeks ago, and I did tend to pick quite a bit up, which somebody else got as well. So it's just great to get that backup and that validation, isn't it? And hopefully, you know, I'll work on sort of trying to get more back. And yeah, I did get close to sort of doing readings on here as well. So maybe I can do readings, I just don't. But it's just one of those, isn't it? But there's loads of people who do it, and they do it well. So yeah, it's just one of those. But I will show the other one. When do you want me to show it? That's the question. So shall I sort of put it up on a Thursday? So yeah, there's another hour of Mark talking. So yeah, we'll put that up. And then I also spoke to a gentleman in Australia. Now this was a while ago, same sort of thing. I spoke to him on a Saturday morning, and I haven't actually put the footage up. So it's absolutely incredible interview with a guy called Anton Lang. So I also need to put that up as well. So that was, I think it was like 1.5 hours. So if I put that up on a Thursday as well. So I'll put the second part up on Thursday, and then put the Anton Lang interviews up as well, because it was an incredible chat. It really was. But it was just for me how to get it back onto Facebook. So tonight for me, it was a trial. You know, I'd got the footage. I didn't know how to get it on, and yeah, I managed it. It was all right. But yeah, so I can't read it. Let's see. That's what I'm working. As soon as support worker mental health, believing you can do it, it's time, will take time. Yeah. Yeah, I could to some degree, you know. I was getting quite a lot, and then I think it's just stress, and it just sort of stops you from picking things up. But I've kind of backed away a bit from paranormal at the moment. Don't know, it's just I don't think sort of opportunities are coming up. You know, at one stage I was hosting quite a lot. That's gone quieter at the moment. And I haven't booked on as many events, but yeah, it's one of them. I'm attending Parameet up next week. So Wednesbury Paranormal are organising in Dudley at Station Hotel for paranormal people to meet up. So going there's about 100 and something people going from across the paranormal community. So that is going to be really amazing. It's fancy dress. It's Peaky Blinders. If anybody does want to go, please look at the Wednesbury Paranormal page or group. Great bunch of lads, great team. I do try and go out with them when I can, but it's just like location-wise, I tend to stick within an hour of Nottingham. They're a bit too far out a lot of the time, but yeah, smashing team. But yeah, I think it's Saturday. We're just meeting up at the Station Hotel in Dudley, so that's a hell of a haunted place as well. So I'm looking forward to that and meeting so many paranormal people along that way. So yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, I am going to Cromford Mill as well on the 8th of June. That's with my friends at Haunted Heritage. That should be a good night. An old mill, that's going to have a lot of activity, hopefully, isn't it? It hasn't been investigated before, as far as I know. One of the first public events is going to be held there, so let's see how it goes. But thanks everyone for watching, and look after yourselves, won't you? Okay, take care, and I'll put my next show out on Thursday then, 8 o'clock. All right, take care then. Bye.